They say when the bush calls your name, don't answer. Because sometimes, it's not a friend calling. Sometimes, it's your own destiny, waiting to collect a debt. My name is Adaeze, and this is the story I swore I'd never tell. But silence, they say, is also a kind of curse. In my village, Omanik, friendship was not something you chose, it chose you. They said if you shared the same calabash as a child, your destinies became tied forever. That was how it was with Ngozi and me. From the time we could walk, we shared everything. Our mother's chores, the same raffia broom during festivals, even the same bowl of yukodo pepper soup when times were hard. When she got punished for sneaking out to the river at night, I offered my back too. When I lost my father to fever, she brought me roasted yam every evening until I smiled again. She was the wild one. The one who danced before the drums even began to play. The one who could charm a snake out of its hole with her laughter. And I was the quiet one. The thinker. The one who believed loyalty was the truest form of love. But Ngozi had something burning inside her, the hunger. Not hunger for food, but hunger for more. More than the dust parts of Omanik, more than the laughter of boys by the stream, more than the predictable rhythm of farm, market, and sleep. She would watch the traders who came from the city, their clothes neat, their skin glowing with pomade, their shoes shining like mirrors, and whisper. One day, Adaeze, I wear shoes that make the ground remember my steps. I'd laugh, teasing her. As long as your feet still touch the ground. But that day, something flickered in her eyes, something that both fascinated and frightened me. We were only 16 then. If I had known how far her hunger would take her, I might have held her closer that night. That year, the harmattan came early. The air turned brittle, the wind beat through our wrappers, and even the laughter in the market felt thin. Then, one morning, a stranger arrived. He came in a black lorry covered in dust, wearing sunglasses and a scent none of us could name. A merchant from Enugu, he said. He called himself Chief Okafor, and he was looking for one girl of promise. He stood in the square and spoke with a voice that carried like a drumbeat. I will take one girl with me. I will train her. Feed her. Teach her the trade of the city. She will become a woman of means, a woman who owns her own shop. Gasps filled the air. Every girl wanted that chance, to escape the slow grind of farm life, to see the city lights we'd only heard about in stories. For days, the village buzzed. Mothers oiled their daughters' hair, fathers whispered advice, and even those who mocked the idea secretly hoped to be chosen. Ngozi was on fire. She practiced walking with poise, speaking softly, arranging beads and fabrics like a queen. And me. I joined her, not for escape, but because I wanted to stand by her, wherever she went. When the day came, the entire square gathered. We were asked to show skill and discipline. Some girls sang, some danced, others displayed their weaving or craftwork. Ngozi and I wove palm fronds into patterns, hers bold and bright, mine neat and deliberate. When Chief Okafor examined them, he touched mine and nodded. This one, he said slowly, she understands patience. My heart fluttered. Cheers rose from the crowd. But when I turned, I saw Ngozi's face, smiling, yes, but her eyes, sharp. Quiet. Unreadable. That night, she brought palm wine to my hut. We drank beneath the old udala tree, laughing about our childhood. She toasted to me, to the girl who will wear the city's light. Her voice was sweet. Too sweet. I should have noticed her hand trembling slightly as she poured. I should have noticed how her laughter never reached her eyes. By dawn, Ngozi was gone. No one saw her leave. No footprints in the dust, no word to her mother. All she left behind was a single wrapper, my wrapper, tied around her bag. The merchant's lorry left before sunrise. And when the village woke, they said only one thing. Ngozi has gone to the city. But Chief Okafor had chosen me. Not her. And that's when I knew she hadn't waited for fate to choose. She'd taken it. In my village, Omanik, when a person disappears, the air changes before the truth arrives. It becomes thick, heavy, like the clouds that gather before harmattan rain. That was how the air felt the morning we realized Ngozi was gone. The rooster crowed twice, the sun climbed lazily over the hills, and women began pounding yam as usual. But her mother, Mama Ejima, stood outside her hut, calling her daughter's name like a prayer. Ngozi. Ngozi, Baiko, time for the market. Silence. He called again. Louder. Her voice cracked. Still, nothing. By mid-morning, people began to gather, first the neighbors, then the men, then the elders. They searched the stream, the footpaths, the farm. They asked travelers if they'd seen a young woman with skin like rainwater and laughter that could make even the sick smile. None had. At sunset, the search grew desperate. Torches flickered. Names were shouted into the darkness. Even the children stopped playing, they just stared into the night, clutching their mothers' wrappers. The forest beyond the stream was said to be older than memory, where trees breathed secrets and spirits walked without shadows. So when someone mentioned that she'd been seen walking toward it at dawn, people stopped talking. You don't go to that forest. Not alone. Not when you carry unfulfilled promises in your heart. Mama Ejima wailed until her voice broke. The bush cannot eat my only child, she cried. They said her screams followed the wind that night, all the way past the hills of Ntoola. I joined the search the next morning. My legs trembled, but I couldn't stay behind. I owed it to her, my friend, my sister in everything but blood. We combed through the forest edge, calling her name. Only the echo answered. By the third day, the elders called it off. No footprints. No cloth. No sound. She must have gone to the city, someone whispered. Another replied, maybe she followed the merchant. Rumors began to grow like weeds. They said she'd run away for a better life. They said she was taken by spirits who lure the ambitious. They said, too much. But I refused to believe any of it. Every evening, I waited by the path we used to walk home from the stream, that narrow road where the dust rose like smoke beneath our bare feet. I brought 2 calabashes of water, one for her, one for me. I would sit there until the sun melted into red, until the crickets began their chorus, until my eyes ached from staring into the emptiness. And every night, I'd whisper into the silence. Ngozi, if you can hear me, come home. But all I got was the sound of wind brushing against the dry leaves. Until one night. It was a night thick with silence, the kind that makes you hear your own heartbeat. The moon was shy, hiding behind grey clouds. The air smelled of dust and rain that never came. I was at the stream, filling my calabash, when I heard something, footsteps. Soft. Light. Familiar. A rhythm my heart recognized before my mind did. My breath caught. Ngozi. I called. No answer. I turned, and for a fleeting second, I saw her reflection in the water. Faint. Fragile. She was standing behind me, smiling the same smile I'd known all my life. I gasped and spun around. But there was no one there. Only the quiet whisper of water moving, and the moon breaking through the clouds just long enough to light up the place she should have been standing. The reflection was gone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her laughter in the wind, faint, like memory refusing to die. 2 nights later, the village fell into a deep, eerie calm. The dogs didn't bark. The goats refused to move. Even the night birds stayed silent. That was when it happened. I was returning from my mother's hut after helping her pound cocoyam. As I passed the stream, I heard it, my name. Soft. Familiar. Adaeze. I froze. The air around me felt heavy. Adaeze, it's me. Ngozi's voice. I almost dropped the basket in my hand. My throat went dry. I looked around. Nothing. But the sound came again, from the direction of the forest. Adaeze, don't be afraid. I took a few steps closer, my feet trembling. The trees at the edge of the forest seemed to bend slightly, as if listening. The moon slid out from behind the clouds, spilling light across the leaves. That's when I saw it, a piece of white cloth caught on a low branch. Ngozi's scarf. The one she wore on the day she vanished. I picked it up, clutching it against my chest. It smelled faintly of her, palm oil and hibiscus. Ngozi. I whispered. No reply. Just the faint rustle of leaves. Then, the sound of bare feet stepping on dry earth. Slow. Coming closer. My heart thumped so hard I thought it would betray me. I squinted. There was something, or someone, standing just beyond the tree line. The moonlight caught the edge of a shadow that didn't move like a person should. Ngozi. I called again, my voice barely a breath. This time, the answer came in a whisper that crawled into my bones. Adaeze, you promised we'd always walk home together. I stumbled backward. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of rain and something else. Cold. Metallic. Suddenly, a hand gripped my shoulder, cold, firm, real. I screamed and spun around, only to find Momoneka, the old seer. Her wrapper hung loose, her eyes sharp like moonlit stones. If you value your shadow, she said slowly, don't answer the bush. Her breath smelled of bitter leaves and smoke. Because once you do, it remembers your name. Her words hung in the air like a curse. I dropped the scarf and ran, my feet slapping the ground like drumbeats. I didn't stop until I was inside my mother's hut, clutching my chest, trying to breathe. That night, I dreamed. I was standing at the forest edge again. Ngozi was there, her skin pale, her eyes hollow. She held out her hand. Her mouth moved, but no sound came. Then the ground beneath her cracked open, roots twisting around her legs, pulling her down. I woke up screaming. The next morning, I told Momoneka what I saw. She stared at me for a long time, then said quietly, "The bush doesn't take the body first. It takes the voice. If she calls again, don't answer." But that night, I heard her again. The planting season came with the smell of wet soil and new beginnings. Children ran through the fields chasing crickets, women sang as they bent over yam mounds. Life had begun to move again, soft and steady, like a scar that healed without permission. Then, one morning, a carriage rode into Omenik. The kind we'd only heard about, polished wood, foreign wheels, pulled by two sleek horses that looked too proud for village dust. From it stepped a woman whose presence bent the air. Her wrapper shimmered like river water, her wrist glistened with gold. Perfume followed her, a scent too rich for our soil. But when she smiled, my breath caught. It was Ngozi. Alive. Radiant. Changed. The crowd gasped, then roared with joy. Her mother screamed her name and ran barefoot across the red earth, collapsing in tears. Even the chief came out of his hut, blessing her with words meant for miracles. But when I looked into her eyes, something inside me twisted. They were perfect, too perfect, like glass that reflects light but no life. She hugged me, her hands cool against my back. "Adaeze," she whispered, her breath sweet and strange, "I told you I'd make the ground remember me." Her voice was familiar, yet distant, a melody played backward. When she pulled away, I saw a faint mark around her neck, thin and dark, like something had once been tied there. And for the first time, standing before my oldest friend, I felt something colder than fear, recognition. Whatever this was, it wasn't the same girl I'd grown up with. At first, everyone celebrated her return. Ngozi became the village's pride. She bought bags of rice for widows, cloth for the dancers, and rebuilt the broken well. People whispered her name like a prayer. But peace in Omanik has a way of smiling with one eye closed. Strange things began to happen, small things at first. The dog stopped barking near her compound. Goats refused to graze behind her house. Children cried when she tried to hold them. Then came the morning the stream behind her hut ran dry. No warning. No reason. Just silence where there had once been life. When the priest's wife went to fetch water, she found 3 dead birds neatly placed at Ngozi's doorstep, wings folded, eyes open. The elders gathered that night, carrying palm oil lamps that flickered like frightened hearts. "Daughter," one of them asked, "have you angered the spirits?" Ngozi smiled, that calm, deliberate smile that never touched her eyes. "Maybe the bush still remembers me," she said softly. Her tone was teasing, almost playful. But her words made the old women clutch their wrappers tighter. That night, I couldn't sleep. The wind outside whispered my name. When I closed my eyes, I saw her, standing by the forest again, her reflection trembling in the water. In my dreams, she wasn't the golden woman from the city. She was barefoot, shivering, her lips moving in silence. And behind her, shadows moved, slow, watching, patient. By dawn, I was certain of one thing. Whatever had come back wearing Ngozi's face had left something, or someone, behind in the bush. The harvest festival came like a storm of colors and sound. Drums thundered. Women twirled in wrappers that caught fire under the setting sun. The smell of roasted yam and palm wine filled the air. And at the center of it all, Ngozi. She danced as if the world itself washed her feet. Every move was sharp, perfect, powerful. Her gold bangles flashed, catching the firelight. The crowd clapped and chanted her name. But as the night deepened, something changed. The drummers began to falter. Their rhythm slipped, not from fatigue, but confusion. Ngozi's movements grew wilder. Her body twisted beyond the rhythm, beyond reason. Her eyes rolled white, her mouth trembling with silent words. Then, suddenly, she stopped. The music choked. The laughter died. Even the crickets went quiet. And in that silence, from the edge of the dark forest, I heard it. Adaeze. The voice, low, trembling, drenched in pain. Every head turned toward the trees. A shadow moved between them. And then we saw her. Another Ngozi. Thin. Barefoot. Covered in dust and torn cloth. Her eyes were alive, terrified. Her lips trembled as she stepped into the moonlight. The woman standing in the center of the field, the golden one, screamed. It wasn't a human sound. It tore through the air, through us, through everything. Her body arched backward, and the ground beneath her cracked. The drums fell silent. Children screamed. The fires went out. And then, darkness. Complete, suffocating darkness. When I woke, my head was pounding and the air smelled of smoke. Around me, the elders sat in a circle, faces lit by a trembling fire. The seer, Mama Neka, leaned on her staff, her eyes clouded but seeing beyond what was visible. Her voice was barely a whisper, yet every ear bent toward her. The real Ngozi was trapped, she said. The spirit took her form, fed on envy, lived through her reflection. A murmur spread through the crowd like ripples through dark water. They brought both women to the shrine, one on her feet, one carried in weak sobs. The resemblance between them was perfect, almost cruel. One cried, shivering like a child in harmattan wind. The other stood tall and calm, her smile soft, too soft. Her eyes glowed faintly, like light behind a curtain. When the priests began their chants, the air thickened, heavy with incense and fear. The ground trembled as if something beneath it stirred. Ngozi's golden bangles began to rattle on their own. Then, the false one screamed. Her voice warped, high, low, breaking, mending. Her face twisted, shifting between forms. A child. A stranger. A hollow-eyed woman I'd never seen. The fire burned blue. The earth smelled like rain and blood. And then, silence. When dawn broke, only one figure remained. Ngozi, the real one, lay pale but breathing, her hand limp in mine. The other was gone, leaving behind a single white scarf, her scarf, now burning slowly into ash. As the smoke rose, Mama Neka whispered. The bush has taken back what belongs to it. Ngozi never remembered what happened in those missing months. She awoke with no memory, only scars, faint, silver, circling her wrist like forgotten bracelets. Now she lives quietly, never leaving the village again. She tends to her mother, plants her yam, and greets the dawn with prayers. Sometimes, when the moon is full, we sit together outside her hut, two friends who've seen too much. The air grows still, and the forest hums like it's breathing. She turns to me and asks, her voice trembling. Adaeze, why do I dream of a voice calling from the forest? I hold her hand and answer softly. Because the bush never forgets the name it calls. She looks away, eyes lost in the dark. And I follow her gaze toward the forest edge, where the shadows seem to sway in rhythm with memory. Sometimes, when the wind is right, I swear I hear it too. My name, carried low and distant. Like someone waiting to be remembered. Adaeze. The sound fades, but the chill remains. Because in Omonik, every story the wind tells is never quite over. My name is Adaeze. And if this story touched you, or reminded you of the power of friendship, and what envy can awaken, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You never know who might need this warning next.